Nanalo ng found feud ng Team Mr. Friendship International Philippines ng 2,000 pesos.
Family Feud, 5:40 p.m.
Welcome to my episode that is called
Nagmamano pa.
That's okay.
At 3 p.m. today. This is DW News. These are our top stories. The newly elected mayor of New York City, Zohran Mamdani, has announced a team of seasoned officials to help deliver on his campaign promises. They include free childcare, free bus rides, and city-run grocery stores. Mamdani said that he was open to having conversations with President Trump, who has been sharply critical of the incoming mayor. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration has announced that it will reduce flights by 10% at 40 major airports starting on Friday if the government shutdown continues. The decision could affect thousands of flights each day. Air traffic controllers and security officers have been working without pay during the shutdown. The French government is moving to suspend access to the Shein online marketplace until it conforms to French law. The news marred the opening of the Chinese company's first shop in Paris. Authorities say that they found illegal firearms and childlike sex dolls for sale on Shein's website. Shein says that it has now banned those products. Resuming Reuters TV, U.S. at 7:46 p.m. yesterday.
District mid-cycle and
Hi, I'm Kim Vinnell in Wanganui, New Zealand. It's Wednesday, November 5th. Today, Democrats sweep to victory in elections across the US, including making Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani mayor-elect of New York. And Brazil's President Lula da Silva deals with the fallout of a major drug cartel sting which left bodies in the streets as the country prepares to welcome world leaders. This is Reuters World News, bringing you everything you need to know from the front lines in 10 minutes, 7 days a week. Handing up to the president a core theme of their campaigns, including the Democratic candidate for the most high-profile race, the now mayor-elect of New York City, Zohran Mamdani. 34-year-old Mamdani beat Andrew Cuomo in an election which saw the highest voter turnout since the 1960s.
So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up.
Mamdani's win coming despite an earlier threat from President Donald Trump to withhold money from the city in the eventuality that he won. Reuters correspondent Maria Tvitskova is in New York.
He definitely managed to bring some voters back to the Democratic Party. I spoke with voters all day at poll sites. One of them was an immigrant from Bangladesh who came to New York City decades ago. He voted for Trump in the presidential election. And now Trump disappointed him, first of all, by the tariffs. He realized that he eventually pays a higher price for goods. And he saw a promise in what Mamdani offered people, affordability.
While Mamdani was speaking, Trump posted on Truth Social, and so it begins, all caps. Trump blamed the losses on the fact his name was not on the ballot and an ongoing federal government shutdown. Trump may not have been on any of the ballots, but in New Jersey and Virginia, the candidates who won the races for governor, both Democrats, put opposition to him front and center of their campaigns. Mikey Sherrill had this to say in New Jersey.
Virginia first.
Spanberger becomes the state's first ever woman to hold the role. To give us the big picture on what all of these results tell us, I spoke to Reuters correspondent Bo Erickson.
So it's not a shock that both Democratic governors-elect won their races tonight, because in these handful of elections that take place in the year after a presidential election, the opposing party, which is now the Democrats, they usually enjoy some more momentum.
Bo says it's too soon to say what these results mean for the midterms next year.
They don't really give away the whole story of what can happen next year, because in Trump's Washington, a lot happens in just one day. This is kind of a shot in the arm for Democrats who are trying to find momentum after losing the White House to President Trump. But to be sure, Republicans are going to try to discount any sort of moderate wins here from the Democrats tonight. Some Republican leaders in Congress have already dismissed, quote, Kami Mamdani. So we are really expecting conservatives ahead of next year's midterm election to use Mamdani's popularity to try to paint more moderates as extreme.
And in California, voters have decided to give Democratic lawmakers the power to redraw the state's congressional map. It may help Democrats flip several seats in the House of Representatives, all part of a wider gerrymandering battle across the country. I spoke with Reuters correspondent in Carlsbad, California, Daniel Trotter.
This means the Democrats are fighting back. For a long time, Republicans had sort of owned the gerrymandering redistricting in their states. Legally, of course, they have used their political advantage to advance districts, to redraw districts that favor them at the expense of Democrats in California.
At least 7 people are dead after a UPS plane crashed on takeoff from Louisville, Kentucky. The UPS wide-body cargo plane headed for Honolulu erupted into a fireball moments after it took off. Eyewitness video showing a trail of black smoke in the sky. At least 11 people injured on the ground have been taken to hospital. A market sell-off on Wall Street has investors questioning whether the AI rally has run out of steam. Carmel Crimmins is the host of our sister podcast, Reuters Econ World. Carmel, what has triggered this?
A wake-up call from the CEOs of Goldman Sachs and Morgan Stanley. So they warned this week that markets might be due for a pullback after a massive run-up, and it's triggered underlying concerns about AI valuations. Are they overstretched? The question is, though, is this just a blip, and will we see investors return and buy the dip, as it's called? Or could we be due for a deeper sell-off?
Meanwhile, Carmel, we have a burning markets question of our own, right?
We do, Kim. So people who know the show know that we have a bell to accompany our market segment. Now, it's caused a little bit of consternation on the team. Should we keep it? We have some fans. We have some people who don't like it. We want to hear from you. What do you think? Should the market bell stay or should it go? We're going to be running a poll on Spotify, so please let us know.
And just quickly, what have you got for us this week on Reuters Econ World?
We're looking into the economics of art heists after that jewellery theft in the Louvre. That pod will be dropping later today, and you can catch it on Reuters.com, the Reuters app, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Brazil's President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva is facing increased scrutiny after a brutal roundup of accused cartel members left more than 100 people dead, literally.
Police operation with domestic support for a crackdown on organised crime in Brazil ahead of a presidential election next year. So international observers, UN officials and members of Lula's own left-wing party have raised the alarm over how the police operation was handled, but fresh polling suggests quite widespread domestic support for how the police acted. And at the same time, Brazil's political right, that very narrowly lost the last presidential race, has moved swiftly to capitalise on the incident. Lula has now said he will push for an independent probe. He said it was important to see under what conditions it took place and that the authorities had approved for arrest warrants, but not a, quote, mass killing.
A new decree from the Vatican is clarifying how Catholics view Mary, the mother of Jesus. In the decree approved by Pope Leo, the church says Jesus alone saved humanity and that Mary was not on equal footing. And that while Mary opened the gates of redemption by giving birth to Jesus, she herself is not a redeemer. And for today's recommended read, we take you to Para, the Brazilian state hosting next week's COP30 climate conference, with a story about the past and future of Amazonian mining. There's a link to that story in today's podcast description. For more on any of the stories from today, check out Reuters.com or the Reuters app. Don't forget to follow us on your favourite podcast player. If you're listening on a smart speaker, just ask for the latest news from Reuters 7 days a week. I'll be back tomorrow with our daily headline show.
That's it for your news updates. To see more stories, open Google News.